What's up, Taiwan? I'm Yvonne with 10 minutes of news from here in Taiwan and around the world. On Monday, Taiwan tracked 70 Chinese aircraft and 11 Navy vessels operating around Taiwan. 35 aircraft breached the median line of the Taiwan Strait and entered the country's air defense identification zone. This comes as China ramps up its military exercises after President Tsai met with U.S. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. Yvonne reports.
你现在已经严重破坏地域和平、稳定及安全，请你立刻转向驶离。
In this video from Taiwan's Coast Guard, a tense exchange between them and a Chinese military vessel. This comes amid a 3-day military exercise announced by China that began on Saturday. Beijing has dubbed the drill the Joint Sword. It involves air, land, and sea forces encircling Taiwan. China is flexing its military muscle after Taiwan President Tsai Ing-wen and U.S. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy held high-level talks in California last week. Beijing warned there would be consequences if Tsai were to meet McCarthy, who is third in succession to the U.S. presidency. Beijing sees the meeting as Taiwan asserting its independence. China considers Taiwan as part of its own territory, even though the Communist Party has never ruled over Taiwan.
I think for China, it's a propaganda piece for their internal population to say, look, we are countering encroachment by secessionist forces on Taiwan, partnering with outside actors, in this case, the United States.
Taiwan's defense ministry says they are increasing their combat readiness in case of escalation.
PLA's recent harassment with their assets has destabilized the region. This time, President Tsai's visit became their excuse to conduct exercises, and their actions have severely jeopardized the security of the surrounding region.
It's the second time in 8 months that Chinese forces are conducting large-scale exercises. In August last year, Nancy Pelosi, then Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives, visited Taiwan, prompting China to launch live-fire exercises around Taiwan.
中国围台军演，那么只会让全世界看到，它是和平的破坏者，维护台海的和平跟稳定，确保台湾的安全，这是全世界民主国家的共同利益。
But despite the military posturing, on the streets of Taipei, life goes on.
当然，现在也不完全觉得这次的演习就会对我们有安全上的疑虑，或者是，可是其实他们做的每一个动作都是在 push 这个界限，
照样子去做，不用害怕。对啊，因为我们有台积电，对，然后还有美国的保护，对啊。
Taiwanese tech firm TSMC is the world's largest producer of semiconductors, and global reliance on the country's chip industry is seen to protect it from overt Chinese aggression. But it hasn't dissuaded China from continued acts of intimidation.
It may not feel tangible right now, but tensions between Taipei and Beijing are at its highest. And without some political breakthrough, officials fear there could be a change to the status quo. Andy Xue and Bing Wang for TaiwanPlus.
For more on China's military exercises around Taiwan, our reporter Jaime Ocon spoke to Brian Hart, a security analyst with the China Power Project in Washington, D.C.
What have we seen in terms of a Chinese military reaction to Tsai and McCarthy meeting?
Yeah, so I think one of the key things to look at that we had in August was we could physically see the zones that the PLA laid out for their military activity. One of the interesting things about this time around is the PLA hasn't released quite as much information about where exactly they're operating. And they've broadly talked about encircling the island. I would say one of the things we haven't seen yet is the firing of the ballistic missiles over the island of Taiwan by the PLA rocket force. That was a major escalatory move in August and something that got a lot of attention. So far, we haven't seen that yet. What we've seen so far has been more simulated strikes. So in that sense, so far, maybe it's not quite as escalatory. But I would caution everyone to keep in mind this is still early on in this process.
China says that these drills are aimed at encircling the island and sort of performing a blockade operation. What does this mean, and what are we actually seeing?
So I think, in the kind of contingencies that the PLA may have planned for something like this, a blockade would certainly be under consideration, I think, depending on what the political objectives were in Beijing. And so I think part of these demonstrations this week are aimed at showing the different capabilities that the PLA has, whether that's to engage in something like a large kinetic blockade, or whether that's potentially to focus more on large-scale strikes on key targets on the island. So there's a lot of what the PLA is trying to do here to show kind of a diversified kind of portfolio of capabilities.
What can Taiwan do in terms of defending against this sort of aggression?
I think China here is going to, again, try to push things further. Maybe not in the exact same ways that they did in August, but I think that they're going to try to leverage this and exploit this as an opportunity to push things further in their favor and to normalize some of the activities that they want to see. I think one of the things that they may be trying to normalize is some of this more inspection activities, inspecting ships in the Taiwan Strait and trying to assert China's control over some of the maritime traffic in the Taiwan Strait. So I think long-term, that's something that worries me. And so, as people watch this week, I would just say to keep in mind the long-term potential ramifications of this.
That was Brian Hart from the China Power Project speaking to our reporter Jaime Ocon. Drought conditions across Taiwan are taking a toll on tourism as well as the water supply. From tour boats to scenic waterfalls, sites that are usually packed with visitors have recently seen crowds dwindle. And as John Van Trieste reports, relief could be more than a month away.
Here at the Shimen Reservoir in northern Taiwan, there's muck everywhere you look. A historic dry spell has seen water levels fall below half of the normal levels. And for local tour boat operators, it means business has dried up too. They plan to stop running tours on Tuesday, as their boats have been getting stuck in the mud.
老天爷赏雨的话，水位大概到230公尺，我们才会再把码头拖回来。
The drought has also taken a toll on other sites. Here's a before and after view of the Songlong Rock Waterfall, one of the attractions in Nantou, central Taiwan. After months with little rain, it's now just a trickle, and the crowds appear to have left.
近日呢，偶有下雨，但雨势都不大，对瀑布呢及溪流的这个呢水势呢帮助并不多。
There's hope the upcoming rain season will bring some relief, but forecasters say it will still be several weeks before any significant improvement.
整个环境要有利于降雨的条件哦，目前初步的资料看起来应该是要到5月25、26号之后。
Meaning the worst could still be ahead for Taiwan's water supply and the people whose livelihoods depend on it. Eason Pan and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
Foxconn has announced a new investment in the southern city of Kaohsiung. The company, which makes Apple's iPhones, says it will invest around $820 million over the next 3 years. Foxconn says it plans to use the money to develop Kaohsiung's software industry. The company's founder, Terry Guo, recently announced that he will run for president in 2024. But the company says the new investment is not related to that news. China is offering Taiwan a panda. This follows the death last year of one of Taipei Zoo's adult pandas, Tuan Tuan. Taipei Mayor Zhang Wan welcomed the gesture.
不管是城市跟城市之间的交流，或是动物园，我们能够再多一只熊猫，都是很好的事情。当然，我们事前也必须要请包括动物园，还有我们两岸事务小组来做全面的了解。
The last time China gifted Taiwan a panda was in 2008. That was after a more China-friendly former President Ma Ying-jeou was elected for the first time. But officials from both of Taiwan's major parties are still wary of China's latest offer. Some have called for Jiang to reject it, especially as China continues its military aggression toward Taiwan. Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. Remember to download the TaiwanPlus app for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, today we'll leave you with images of pink shower trees blooming in Taiwan's southern city of Kaohsiung. I'm Yvonne Yang. Take care and see you next time.